22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You tuned into a special edition of the Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show, the Black Westchester Power Hour. Today, my guest is Pound Ridge Council candidate. Now, I hope I pronounce her name right, and I hope she forgives me if I don't. Namasha Schelling. I believe that is it. Did I pronounce your name right?
That is correct. Namasha Schelling, yes.
Okay, so first off, you're running for council in
Town board.
Town
board. Yeah,
it's right, because you have a town. Right. Town. Yeah, so you're town board instead of council. Right. Town board member. And Pound Ridge, the town of Pound Ridge.
Pound Ridge.
So first, just tell everybody why you are running and why you the candidate they should vote for.
Well, I'm running because we have a serious lack of young people running for office pretty much all over the country, specifically here in Pound Ridge. I'm also, if I win, would be the first Black person to be a town board member in Pound Ridge. Okay. So, over the last 5 years, we've had a serious change of demographic here because of COVID. We've had a lot of people move from the city here, and we're just not represented anywhere that I see. It's often the same demographic of people that are on town boards or in committees and boards. And it's just time for a change. And I want our voices to be represented. That's why I'm running.
Now, I talk about, we've been doing this for 9 years. A lot of times I talk about there is a fear of the browning of America. You've seen the change on the national level and Congress and on the state level, and a lot of governor and seats and state representatives. And here in Westchester, there's, we see a lot more people of color, persons of color running. You would join a list. I wrote a book, Black Westchester Celebrates Black Women of Westchester. And I highlighted several women who are running municipalities: Sean Patterson, Howard and Mount Vernon, Vivian McKenzie, and Peekskill. Marianne Carr was supervisor in Bedford. We have Afro-Latina and mayor of Tuckahoe now, and you would be joining that list, making history. But in the fear of the browning of America, there has been pushback on all levels, which I understand you are facing, and I want to give you a chance to talk about that.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. So I moved out here in 2018.
Okay.
And at that time, this area was completely dead. Like no one wanted to move out here. Our house was on the market for like 3 years. Nothing was happening. And then COVID happened and everything started to change. And I decided to run for school board in 2021. I didn't know much. They just needed a candidate to run. They had no one to run and they needed someone. So I was like, okay, great. I'll jump in. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how crazy things could get. I was like, what do you mean? I didn't even know you ran for school board. I just thought, okay, we put my name on a list. There'll be an election. That's it. But it ended up being like a campaign. I need to get signs. There was a debate. Like I had to learn about the school district. It was intense. And this was all around the time of critical race theory, which ironically, I had no idea what that was until like they started to accuse me of it.
And most of the people who throw the name around and don't understand what it is either.
Exactly. And I just was so naive. And I had like a Facebook page, a public Facebook page. Actually, sorry, it was not public. They were just posts that were public, individual posts that were public. Right. During the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests for George Floyd, I posted a lot and I stand by everything I posted, but a police officer, who I shall not name, from Bedford, saw those posts and shared the posts in public and community groups all around our community, and wrote this whole thing that I hate the police, I want to defund the police, how dare I complain about being Black in America, especially because I am wealthy and I live in a large house and like I should not complain. And that if, that now first responders will not come to my aid because how dare I complain, and just this whole thing. And it went viral, it went insane. And so all these trolls started to go onto my Facebook page and find any post that they deemed unworthy. And they decided to post hateful things, send me threats. I had to have the chief of police from Bedford come here to talk to me because I thought it was a violation of some sort that a police officer would do this to me. I believe also police officers are not supposed to say anything about an election, about who they support. But anyway, that's how this all began. And now I think, I don't have 100% proof, but I think those same people are targeting me again. And even in this last school board election in May, I did not run. They used those same Facebook posts in mailers that went out to just Republicans in the district to scare people of the two candidates I was supporting, race baiting them, basically saying, look, if you support these candidates, you support this woke, liberal point of view. And again, it's basically because I said that systemic racism exists in this country, in this state, and in this town when I did my debate. And they did not like that. All they heard was me saying they are racists, which is not what I said. I said systemic racism exists.
Right.
Yeah. And they did not like that. And that combined with the Facebook posts basically has created this whole campaign of funding the mailer and now these signs all over town that say, stop the hate, keep Namasha Schelling off of our town board. And it's clearly funded by some group that has money and is invested in sort of, race baiting people who are racist against me, right? And it's been very eye-opening. It's been incredibly eye-opening to see. It's very well coordinated. And there's also a Twitter account. I think it's also connected to this whole group that does nothing but send hate messages around LGBTQ people, Black people, targeting me. And it's just relentless. And any election I will run, I think they will come after me like this.
So one of the things we, and doing Black West Justice, it's been 9 years since we've been doing this, and I've written for several publications before that. One of the things that the theme that I found out, only being pro-Black is a problem. You can be pro anything else. You can be pro-Jewish, pro-Italian, pro-Irish, pro-LGBTQ, but if you're pro-Black, you have to be labeled anti-something. We do Black Westchester, so you can imagine the attention we get from the word Black Westchester. Oh, what if I started a white Westchester? You don't have to, because most media is white. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even have to do, but you get stuff like that. But it's just like, we've been accused of, and many people are accused of, being anti-police. We're not anti-police, we're anti-bad police, and it doesn't matter what color you are, because there are bad Black cops. You know what I'm saying? And most cops are good. You're
exactly
anti something if you're pro-Black, and Black people are one of the only groups that face that. Everybody else is allowed to have pride for themselves. If you say Black lives matter, it doesn't mean other lives don't matter. But if you look at the history of this country, Black lives have never been treated like they matter, no matter what your economic position or your bank account or whatever. You can be rich and live in a good house and still be jogging in your neighborhood and get pulled over by the police. That has happened to some people that thought, since they lived in good neighborhoods, that couldn't happen to them. You know what I'm saying? And they got their wake up thing, So right now, anything that they can't define, they like CRT was the thing. Now woke is the expression. You know what I'm saying? And most people don't even understand what that is. But if you are something that they want to put a negative thing, you're woke. And
what is
the opposite of woke? Being sleep. So I mean, like, we should all want to be woke. I mean,
I think it was so interesting, the conversations that I started to have after this whole school board run, because it just became very clear to me that a lot of people that I know well just don't understand race in America, race in the world. They don't understand different contexts. I was born in Tanzania. My mother is Tanzanian, my father is Swiss. I have a lot of privilege, but I also don't have a lot of privilege. My ancestors were not brought here as slaves. So sometimes people are like, well, you're not African American, whatever. But I become an American citizen. And now when I talk specifically about systemic racism here in this district, I was actually talking about the Hispanic community, of which we have like almost 1,000 students that are English language learners in our school district, Bedford Central School District, that are not represented on the school board or anywhere. And in fact, many people were trying to kick them out of our district and are blaming them for the low test scores. I was talking about that here in this district, right? And ironically, then I faced racism because I brought this up, right? And I had, to be very honest, never faced that much direct racism in my life. And I had never even been in contact with the police. And I thought it was, again, very ironic that now then was told that I hated police. I had never been in contact with police in my life. Now I have, because of all of this. And what I discovered is, like you said, there are good and there are bad cops. Right here in Pound Ridge, all the cops have been wonderful to me. But of course, there was that one cop who did not know me, took posts that I made out of context and decided I hated him. I've never met him in my life, don't know him, and he made me a target. And he's supposed to protect people, right?
That's the dangerous. I want to say that's the dangerous thing. And I've covered several of these stories. Like in Yonkers, there was a firefighter who had a lot of racist comments, and they were trying to get him off the fire department because of his demeanor and his behavior. How could we trust that if my house was on fire, he would put it out because of how he feels about Black people?
Yeah, I mean, that's what he told me.
And that's the job that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the job, when you run for office, you are the person over all the people in that district, whether they voted for you or not, whether they look like you or not, and they don't understand that. And you still have to serve them. If you're a cop or an EMT or a firefighter, you have to protect all the people, even the ones that you don't like. It could be. Now we do have some overly left wing people that are a little extra progressive, a little extra, pro-Black, whatever, that are a threat. But you still have to protect them too. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't like their, if you don't like what they stand for, you have to protect them. And I find that interesting because other groups of people want us to understand their plight. They want us to understand and be more understanding. And when do Black people in this country get that? And as far as you are concerned, you remind me of Trevor Noah when he said he first came here. He found out what being Black meant when he was in America. Like, he never had that
Me
problem.
too. I never had that problem before until I came to America.
Right.
Like it's a very different experience here. I mean, there's racism all over the world. Don't get me wrong. Or there's anti-Blackness and colorism, 100%. But this concept of being Black is very much an American experience, right? And it's just, we live in such segregated societies. My whole life here in America is so segregated. I'm mostly around white people, and most of them don't know one Black person other than me. And I'm half Black, right? I mean, I consider myself Black, but technically I'm half Black.
If you have any melanin in you in this country, you are Black.
Exactly.
There's no room you can walk in and they be like, they won't say, "Oh, that's a Black woman." There's no woman. There's no room you can.
Exactly. But it's terrifying when a lot of my friends, I'm the only Black person they know. They never invited a Black person to their house. They don't know anything, right? And so they have this just really monolith viewpoint of what it means to be Black, right? They don't know, they don't understand. And so I think I've come up against that here, especially like every time I go door knocking, like it is hilarious for this campaign. Like on a daily basis, when I go door knocking, people are like, "You live here in Pound Ridge?" Yes, I do, because I'm running for town board. Like, you can't run for town board if you don't live in town.
Right.
And then they say, "Oh, you have such a trusting face." Okay. At first, I didn't understand what that meant.
That's like, oh, you speak so well.
Exactly. I was like, what is happening right now? Oh, okay, now I get it. I did not understand because, again, like from Tanzania, where my mother's from, all the Black people that I know in my family, they're well-educated, they're wealthy. Like, I just didn't understand like this negative connotation to being Black. It's difficult to understand. And then over time, you start to realize like, yeah, I'm facing these microaggressions and macroaggressions that I just did not process in the moment. And it just kept happening after 3 or 4 times. Like, oh, why do they keep asking me if I live in Pound Ridge? Like, obviously, you have to live in Pound Ridge to run for town board.
Right.
What? Okay. And I think that's the reason why I'm running, to show people like me live here. I can live here too.
Yeah, I want to say something too, because hopefully this will circulate in your community, and some of the people who are not familiar with you will see this. We have to understand a lot of these people, like you said, don't come in contact with Black people. So unfortunately, they only have to go with the negative imagery and rap videos and movies, the thug, the criminal, the whatever, you know what I'm saying? And that is their reality until they get a chance to meet someone like you and talk to you. So I'm hoping this is an introduction to you to some of these people that they can see you are a person, you live in this community, you care about your community. We all want the same thing. We want our kids to be safe. You know what I'm saying? We want to provide for our family. But if you don't come in contact ever, you know what I'm saying? You can't understand. And that's the danger with this new whitewashing of American history. It is not just dangerous for young Black people, but it's dangerous because white people then don't learn the real history either, and they don't know that our life didn't start before slavery. There were free Black people, even during slavery that came here. There were people here before slavery existed, Black people, and they don't know this because none of this is taught, and that's by design. And then they want to take stuff like slavery and stuff out of the history books. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't exist. And I think that's a danger to the polarization that you're already talking about. It could only get worse. And we all need to learn about, I use this example, sometimes I'm trying to word it right because sometimes it gets me in trouble. I talked to a group of people and I was saying, I understand learning about what happened in slavery is very uncomfortable. Every year when the anniversary of the Holocaust, they show these documentaries and everything about the Holocaust. I watch them. I feel as a human being, I feel uncomfortable for what those people went through, but I continue watching so I can somewhat understand. I can never walk their walk. I can never feel their shoes. I can never feel what they felt, but somewhat I can try to understand. We have to be comfortable being uncomfortable to be able to move forward. And it seems like that's what's going on. Like I didn't know a lot of Black people in Pound Ridge as a Black person, and I'm just learning now that Pound Ridge is part of Bedford. I didn't know exactly where that was demographic. So that's I'm learning that. I'm sure a lot of people in Westchester don't know that either.
I think a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, a lot of people have no idea where Pound Ridge is, or even Bedford. I think there's definitely a focus in Westchester and Lower Westchester, which makes sense, closer to the city, and it's just more dense. We're not very dense here, and so just people are not aware, and that makes sense. But that's changing now with these new demographics of people. There's just a lot more different types of people moving out here, which is awesome. And you are totally right about the need to understand the history. Otherwise, you're doomed to repeat it. You have to understand your own history. We don't even need to go as far back as slavery. We can talk about segregation. That was within some of our lifetimes.
Right.
That's not that long ago. And you can't just pass laws and then expect a whole culture and society to change overnight. That's not how it works, right? And clearly we've seen that. Many things have not changed, many attitudes have not changed. So we don't have to go that far back to see a society in which we do not want to live in. And we must acknowledge that and teach each other and be willing to accept, faults and to listen. I'm Swiss German. Like, my ancestors were probably Nazis. Like, it is what it is, right? But I have to acknowledge that and to take responsibility for that, and to understand and to listen and to learn, and not to shy away from that. I think the problem is that so many people don't want to take responsibility for anything. They just want to say they're only good, and it wasn't me, it was my ancestors, I don't know, however long ago. But we're all human. We all need to take responsibility for things, and we have to listen and learn. And it is our responsibility to make sure we don't repeat the same mistakes. That is our responsibility.
So for my audience, which is Westchester County, and for the people in your community, who is Namasha Schelling, the person?
The person? Oh goodness, that's a good question. I think it's just, I'm a woman who is turning 40 next year, approaching a new decade in life, and I just want to continuously learn and grow. That's why I'm running. I never want to just be stagnant. I think it's so important to keep learning, to keep changing, to keep doing things that challenge yourself. This running for election is very challenging, and it's good. It's giving me a lot of growth. And even if I lose, I've learned so much.
Now, for those who may say, well, she doesn't have any government experience, why should we vote for her? She's, we need somebody who's, has more experience. What would you say to that?
None of the other people running, except Ali Boak, who is running with me, have government experience. And that is not a requirement in any way. I have lived here only 5 years, and yet I have helped create the Human Rights Advisory Committee here in this town. I've been on the Housing Board. I'm on the Comprehensive Plan Town Update Committee. Like, I do so much volunteering and giving back because I care, and I want young people to be involved and to be represented. And I want to hopefully live here 30 years from now and raise my daughter here. And so, there's no requirement to have government experience. I have also been working nonprofits for the last 15 years in communications and fundraising and operations. I am well equipped to do this job, and I can learn in the moment. And I'm sure there'll be tons of things I will need to learn, but I do think that being young and just more sort of aware of the issues of today, the technologies of today, will really benefit our town.
I think representation is very important. I've had this conversation with Mary Ann Carr, And like her, you live in an area that's not a predominantly Black area. And you both have the boldness and audacity to have natural hair. If you understand what I'm saying, like, you know, we've been taught we have to straighten our hair and make it fit in more. And both of y'all, you know, that's a statement in itself. You know what I'm saying? You would expect maybe that in Mount Vernon. You understand what I'm saying? But up where you are, you know what I'm saying? There's probably already not a lot of people that look like you, and you know, the natural hair thing, because there's a prejudice for our hair, and that, if you want to speak to that, that's a thing that people don't understand. That really is a thing.
It's definitely a thing, and I 100% do it on purpose. On all my photos or any event that I go to, I mean, I always have my natural hair, to be very clear that I'm Black and I'm proud to be Black. 100%.
And I'm hoping that in your running, success or no success, there will be young sisters young Black girls, young women of color, to be like, they feel that they can do it, because like you can't see. I was married and I had two stepdaughters, and at the time Barack Obama became president, my stepdaughters were the same age of his daughters. And I was like, you have something that me, your mother, and many people in my age have never had. When you look at the White House, you actually can see yourself. When I looked at the White House, I saw Amy Carter and like, you know, none of these people, none of them kids look like me, like for the first time. And I was like, you have to understand how important that is. And in your running, I'm hoping that it will inspire other young ladies and even some young men to feel like, you know, just because you don't see ourselves there, you can do it. You know, and I think that is important. Representation is important. One of the things they teach you in this country, and when you in elementary school, is taxation without representation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we're not represented, but you want to tax us. That's why they left England. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, and they get mad when we have the audacity to dream and try to achieve the things in the Constitution and things of that nature. Like, you know, we have the audacity to think that that includes us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, what Obama said, the audacity to dream. Like, and I see that in you.
Thank you. No, you're 100% right. Like, it's so important that other people, specifically young girls, you know, who look like me, see that someone like me could do this, could run and win. Hopefully, we'll see, and feel represented. It's absolutely important, and I am like continuously in awe of the Black resilience in this country, specifically. I'm sorry to cry. Sorry.
No problem.
It's been an emotional week. But yeah, I
want people to see the real you. I want them to feel you. Hopefully that's what comes out of this. So this is good.
Yeah, I wanted to be clear and say that African Americans in this country have such a resilience. And I'm honored to now be an American and to be considered part of that experience. Right. And I will do whatever I can to show that we deserve to live here and to succeed and to achieve whatever anyone else achieves. And I hope to be that, to help be that little voice here in Pound Ridge. We're like 5,000 people, small little town, but I hope to do that. And yeah, I think just since 2020 and obviously before, because I was very dismayed to see so many people say to me in 2020, oh, Namasha, you were right, racism exists here. It was really disheartening to feel that people did not know that existed before 2020. That was just shocking. And so, yeah, I just want all the African Americans, all the Black people here to just, keep being resilient. I know it's tough. And I'm just I'm so proud to be considered, Black in America and to be part of this experience. And I will do what I can to make people proud.
So for the record, these signs are basically trying to paint you as someone who is full of hate. Is that true? Is that why isn't that? If not, why isn't that true? What do they need to know about you? For the people who are just coming in contact with you now, they may just be. I'm assuming that you're not getting a lot of press from the mainstream media, so I want you to use this to speak. Yes.
No, not getting a lot of press. So when I first ran, and every time these signs come up or anything like this, these attacks come up, I do get really full of rage and so angry. But what I've realized is you can't drink the poison and expect it to kill someone else. It's only going to kill you. All I can do is feel extremely sorry for these people who are so afraid of me. And also be proud that someone could be so afraid of me. I will be one vote of 5 on the town board. They are so afraid. They will do anything they can to disparage me, to bring me down, to do whatever they can. Why? I'm just a 39-year-old woman here in Pound Ridge. I have no power. They're so afraid. And they're so angry. They're so angry. I don't know what they're angry about, but I cannot live with such anger. I have to move on. I have to continue to live my life and to help other people and to see the world in a positive light. There's enough anger in the world. There's enough hate in the world. I just do not have the energy or the time to hate people with so much consistency. I just do not. Really, I cannot. I have to wake up every day and be so grateful that I live here in this beautiful town with all this space and trees and fresh air. I'm just incredibly grateful. And I have a lot of privilege in my life as well. And all I can do is give back and enjoy the good things that I have. I cannot, in fact, all I can do is feel pity for these people. I am so sorry that they live here in Pound Ridge, are probably quite privileged just like I am. And instead of spending that time and energy on love and change, they're doing this. They're so full of hate. It's sad. I can't even hate them. I don't know how. I wish I could give them a hug and show them I don't hate all white people. I'm half white. Right? I don't have any hate. Schelling is my last name. It's not my husband's last name. They think I took my husband's name. That's my name. I just don't have the energy to hate people like that. Come to my house, talk to me. I'm not a hater. I don't have the energy or time to hate. We have a lot of bigger problems in the world today, like climate change and poverty and affordable housing and millions of other issues, education issues, we should be solving together. We don't all have to be Democrats and liberal. I don't care what party line you're on. I care that you care about your community and your country and your world and you want to make change. And government means compromise. It's not what I want, it's what we all want. And we have to make compromise. That's just how it works. Otherwise, nothing moves forward. Is it perfect? No, but it is what it is.
So, are you now? With George Floyd in situations like that, a lot of us were upset, and a lot of us posted videos, and a lot of us even celebrated when the officers were arrested and convicted, that there was some justice, because there were so many of these situations where there was no justice. So they're using that against you. Are you anti-police? Do you do not like police? Are you anti, speak to that, since I'm sure no one's giving you a chance to. They've just told you what you are. They've never gave you a chance to speak to that.
I'm not anti-police. I'm not anti anything really. No, not much. Maybe racism.
Right.
But no, I don't hate all police. I do, however, believe and know, because this is just fact, that here in America, We are the only first world country in the world that police kill as many people as they do. And it's not just Black people, they kill a large number of people, which is much different than any other first world country. And that is just a fact. And that is a problem. We should not have that. And I think it's to do with racism and guns. We just have a lot more guns in this country. We don't have enough gun reform. So there's many factors around that, but I don't see how, talking about reform is anti-police. Any system that is broken can use some reform. There are plenty of great cops. There are plenty of probably, I don't know, because I don't know all of them, but I'm sure there are enough bad cops. But what I will say is that here in Pound Ridge, the chief of police was exceedingly kind to me. I worked with him on the Criminal Justice Reform Committee. He invited me to do that. And then when I had some threats, he sent extra patrols to my house. Even now, he's gone, but there was another police officer I just talked to last week about these signs. We had a wonderful conversation. He's always checking in on me to see how I'm doing. They're really nice. Like, they're human beings too, right? So no, I'm not anti-police, and no, I don't want to defund the police. And to me, defund the police only meant that some of that money would go to different types of community members who could do that work. Like, so,
I definitely want to, I'm sorry to interrupt you. That was my next question. The phrase defund the police, like the phrase CRT, like the phrase woke, was co-opted to mean something other than, it wasn't that. And you will always find in every group of fools. So they found foolish Black people to be like, yeah, we don't want no police. The Black community does not feel that way. We cannot police ourselves. We do need the police. But police officers, now my partner, who I started Black Westchester with, he just retired 33 years as a correction officer. He's the head of an organization called Black Law Enforcement of America. So he always spoke up for stuff like that. When I speak to a lot of officers, Black and white, before all of this criminal justice reform and all of this stuff, they stated that they are asked to do too much. The problem is, and the defunding of a lot of other programs, the police department is the one 24-hour agency to answer these kind of calls, because these other programs have been defunded, for lack of another word. And instead of throwing just more money at the police department, not saying they don't deserve, police officers deserve their raise. We have Mount Vernon police officers here fighting for their raise. They deserve their raise. They do a hard job. But we're asking them to do too much. And most officers are not qualified or trained to deal with the mentally ill. You know what I'm saying? They're not. I've talked to police departments all over the county and all over the state. Most, so what we were saying is they need to find funding for all these other services. And some of these calls do not require a badge and a gun. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Be there as backup, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that the person is protected, someone who is skilled in this that can help that. And that's what the whole meaning of this started out as. You know what I'm saying? Because every time there was a situation, what you would see is they would throw more money at the police department. And we need to take some of that money and start funding some of these other things. And that's what it meant. So I wanted to definitely explain that. I understand while talking to you, I'm talking to an audience I don't normally get to speak to. So maybe they may be hearing these type of things for the first time. So I'm definitely taking advantage of that opportunity. But go ahead and speak. Now I want you to continue on with, what you say about defund the police.
You're 100% correct. You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's just that funding could go elsewhere, not, doesn't mean that we're defunding the police. It just means maybe they're not capable of handling a mental health call or a domestic violence call, which, by the way, domestic violence is an issue here in Pound Ridge. That was one of the most calls that the police were getting when I was talking to the chief of police at the time in 2020, 2021 on the Criminal Justice Reform Committee. I'm sure that's still an issue here. We don't have a lot of crime here, but I guess maybe we have 1 or 2, 3 domestic violence calls. That's an issue here, right? And maybe it's not the police who should show up. Maybe it should be someone else, right, who could deal with that, who could de-escalate the situation, who could help the man or woman who is in trouble, right, who is a victim. These are the kinds of things that we can do around defunding the police. And that's what people mean. At least that's how I understood it.
That's what it was. That's what the people who were saying that's what the thing was. And again, they co-opted it. And again, you have fools in every group. And they found a couple of foolish black people to put a camera in front of them. They'd be like, yeah, we want to get rid of the whole police. No, the black community does not feel that way. Those people do not speak for the black community. And let us be clear about that, because if something happens, despite the fact, my first call is probably going to be to the police. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But you have to understand there are some times when in our community where we might be leery to call the police because that the interaction could lead to maybe the death of someone, like what we've seen all over the country. And there is a fear of that. So we need better. We've been pushing for more police community relations, better police community relations. I've been working with a lot of police departments and stuff like that.
It's so important. And that experience on the Criminal Justice Reform Committee really put me in touch with police in a real way for the first time. That had never been before, right? And I learned their procedures and what they're dealing with and how they're human, just like me, right? And like it really helped understand what they're dealing with. How can I help them? What is lacking in the community? Those kinds of things. And it was very eye-opening. And again, just want to be very clear. I do not hate all police, and I do not want to defund the police. And it's very, very frustrating that people don't seem to understand that just because I'm Black and just because I posted in support of the George Floyd protests and, shared some memes. For example, the Kyle Rittenhouse meme, they found that very offensive, and I don't understand why, right? I don't understand why they don't find it more offensive that oftentimes a crime will be perpetrated and a police officer is more likely to go after a Black person than a white person. Like, these are just facts. Like, I don't understand why they were that shocked.
And that's not a white cop thing. That's a police thing. I saw this, exactly. and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I saw this thing. It was in like an academy type situation. It was the beginning, and they showed some images and asked the future police officers that were in this academy to say what they thought. So it was a young Black dude, expensive tracksuit, a little bit of jewelry, driving a Mercedes-Benz. Mm-hmm. They stopped it and said, "What do you think?" They said, "Drug dealer or athlete?" They showed the same car, young white dude, same jewelry, same car. They said, rich, some rich kid that his father brought him that car. Then they explained the white guy was the drug dealer. Mm-hmm. The black guy was a businessman. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the first image, and it wasn't a Black thing, it wasn't a white thing. There were Black officers who also said the same thing from the first image. That was the first image that they had. So we understand it's not. Yeah,
we are all victims of white supremacy. All of us, even Black people, we've been indoctrinated in this soup. We're all in it, and we all have our biases because that's what we see on the media or whatever, right? Like, this is the world we live in, and that's why we have to be aware. The more aware we are, the better are we handling these situations and understanding our own biases that then affect people in the real world, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, I 100% agree with you. Like, when I was pregnant, I went out of my way to have a home birth because I saw the statistics in New York City of Black women dying from childbirth. Like, I did whatever I could. And any time I did meet with a doctor in a doctor's office, they would often, treat me very badly and just assume things about me, that I was an unmarried young Black mother and how did I find them and like all these things. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? And then if I brought my white husband in, oh, okay, now suddenly, okay, you're married. What does it matter if I'm married or unmarried? What does it matter? None of this matters, right? Like, It doesn't matter if I'm a partner or I'm married or not married. Everyone deserves the same treatment of care. That's it. And I saw that. And I'm not an underprivileged person like that. So I understand what Serena Williams went through. Like, that is terrifying. And that's why I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a home birth. so I can control the situations around me and make sure that I have people who believe me and are in my corner and listen to me when I say something.
And it's important for you to run for office because you have these experiences that other people don't. So they can be addressed on a different level when and if these situations come up. Anything I haven't asked you that you want people to know about you, your candidacy, anything?
Just that I'm running on a slate of Democrats. We are the only vetted Democrats that are endorsed by George Latimer and Erica Pierce and Shelley Mayer, like all the big names, the big name Democrats. And so I'm running with Kevin Hansen for town supervisor, and Ali Boak, who's running for one of the town board seats, and I'm running for the other seat. And so, yeah, I'm specifically running with the official Democrats. That's important. Please get out there, get informed. There's also a couple of referendums on the back of the ballot. Learn about them. I think really the key is we have to get out the vote, especially Democrats really have to get out and vote, even in off-year elections, and stay educated. And I know it's exhausting. There's just so much going on in the world right now, and there seems to be an election like every 3 months. But the truth is we cannot let our eye off the ball. Like, we cannot complain later. We have to get educated now. We have to vote now. Make sure to register. Literally here in Pound Ridge, people have lost elections by 3 votes. That's how close it can get here, because there's just not that many people, and especially in an off-year election. So I just cannot urge you enough to get out and vote and educate yourself. And next year's an even bigger election year. We have a lot coming up. And so I know it's exhausting, especially with like the world politics right now and the horrible things that are happening around the world. We just have to stay committed and make sure to take rest when you can, but jump back in, keep yourself educated, talk to your neighbors, even if you don't agree, stay neighborly, stay friendly, take care of each other. And I think the most important thing is, remember, we are all Americans. We're in this together. It does not help us to fight each other.
Right.
We're all Americans. We have to live together. We have to solve things together so that we can keep moving forward. Otherwise, what do we have left?
Right. I have one more question, but before the question, I want to make sure, because it's the first question I asked. I saw the palm card. It is 3 white people and you. I bring this up because the signs are not against the slate. The signs are only against you. There are no signs against anybody else that is on the slate that you're running with. This is a personal attack. So it's not like one team is attacking another team. This is specifically an attack on you. And I wanted to make sure that is brought out.
Yes, thank you. And it's unfortunately very true. And also, none of the people running against me have said anything. Not one of them have spoken up and said, I disagree with this. This is horrendous. Or even reached out to me personally and said, what is this about? This is horrible. I will step up and say, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with hateful, racist attacks. No, none of them have said that.
So, and to put things in a perspective of what's going on now, there are a lot of Jewish groups that are upset when other people are not saying Hamas is bad. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they are upset with university heads of universities for not specifically calling that out. And I just want to say to all the people in your area, to the other candidates, you may yourself not be racist, but silence sometimes makes it sound like you're complicit. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to be willing to call out. Same thing with the officers. We were like our good officers. They say there's only a few bad apples. I need the good apples to start calling out the bad apples. You know what I'm saying? So you by staying silent, it's almost that, it comes off like you're complicit. And even though you're not saying these things, that you agree with these things. So it is important to call these things out when you see them. And I just want to say that. And lastly, I just want to say to everyone, we all want to be heard, but we also have to come to the table willing to listen. And hopefully there are some people in your area right now who are willing to listen to you, to hear you, and before they judge you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, most people who have something negative to say about Black Westchester, when they sit down and talk to them, oh man, I love this show. I love this. You know, I don't know why they said these things, you know, because they never spoke to us. They never. So take these last few days, get to know Namasha. You know, if you have questions, ask her specifically. Ask her what she stands on these things. Don't just assume. You might be very much surprised that she might have a lot more in common with you than you think. Again, we all want our family and our kids to be safe. We all want the best for our children. We all want financial security. We all want these things. You know what I'm saying? So we have a lot more in common. And sometimes if we would start with the commonalities as opposed to starting with the differences, we can come to the table a little bit better and have a better discussion. And hopefully that happens in your area. One more time, anybody who's seeing you for the first time in your area, they want to know about you. Is there a social media, Facebook page, emails, anything?
Yes. You can go to Instagram and find me at Namasha for PR Town Board. Namasha for PR Pound Ridge Town Board. And on there, you can find all the information, including our website, PR Dens. And on there, you can find all the different candidates and, you know, our different positions. So you find all the information you need there.
Okay. Bonus questions that have nothing to do with it. Quick answers. 3 of them. They have nothing to do with the campaign or anything we talked about. If you were a superhero, who would you be?
A superhero? Oh God. I would be a mother, because mothers are superheroes. That's who I'd be.
If your house is on fire and you can only grab 3 things, what would they be?
Oh God. My daughter, my husband, and the passports. Oh no, I feel terrible. The cat.
That's it. There's only actually 2 of them. Those are 2 questions I just throw at people to break up the monotony. Hopefully get a laugh, and hopefully other people will laugh. And I wish you well. Please keep me informed and how things are going. I hope this helps some of the healing necessary in your community, and hope some people see you more than just a black face and a threat, and get to know the person, and that trickles into making more informed decisions at the ballot box.
Thank you so much, AJ. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. I will have this. I got to run around. I will have this up on blackwestchester.com later, and I will send it to you so you can share it with everybody. And until later, this has been another special edition of Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show. Until next time, peace.
Until next time.